Topic 1. Starting an effective presentation.
Introduction.
How we usually prepare presentations or speeches, often limiting ourselves to summarizing the topic, making slides, and taking notes. Although this approach is common and not necessarily wrong, it can become boring and predictable. The real goal of a presentation is not just to deliver a good performance, but to make the content memorable and understandable for the audience. To achieve this, it suggests encouraging dialogue instead of a monologue, promoting questions and solid conclusions.
Introduction to designing an effective presentation.
When you are delivering a presentation, you are not only putting your content and ideas on display, but your personality as well. You are performing for your audience, and they will respond to several stimuli such as how you use your voice, or how you move your hands or your head. That is why you need more than just good content to really make a good impression. You also need to make it flexible, energetic, and stimulating. Some people may think they are not capable of delivering a dynamic and captivating presentation. They think they may be too shy or timid. While energy and enthusiasm may come naturally to some, others have to work hard at developing these skills. The point is, a great presentation requires preparation and practice. A very good first step in preparing your presentation is to picture yourself not as the presenter, but rather as a member of your audience, and ask yourself the following questions.
Answering these questions is a great way to start your presentation off on the right foot. There are certain steps to be taken in becoming an effective presenter. Let's review 6 of them and glean some insight into what it takes to be a great presenter.
Practice. It may seem really obvious, but it is of critical importance. Practice makes you perfect, as they say. Remember our question about confidence? Well, to inspire confidence and trust, you must be truly familiarized with your subject. Don't just read it, understand it. You cannot explain something to someone else unless you completely understand that something yourself. A good way to gain more confidence in your delivery is to practice in a room in front of an imaginary audience. The University of Leicester suggests, get used to hearing your own voice filling a room. Familiarize yourself with the words and phrases in your presentation. Play around with different volumes and see how well you can hear your own voice. Leicester University, 2013. The next question is, do I read my presentation, or do I memorize it? Well, each has its advantages and disadvantages. Reading your speaking notes may keep you in touch with your ideas, but not with your audience. You also run the risk of speaking in a monotone voice and losing charisma. While it is always preferable to speak directly to your audience instead of constantly reading from note cards, memorization can also have its downside. You may be distracted by different elements in the room, such as a cell phone ringing or people chatting. While some notes will help you not to have to memorize your entire presentation, you want to be careful to not lose spontaneity and always do your best to sound confident. A good recommendation is to use index cards that you can easily skim or read at glance. Make one card for each topic and include some details. Include transitions from one card to another so that you cannot mix them up or read them out of order. Be assertive. You want to be well-spoken and confident when presenting, and at the same time, avoid an aggressive presence. Posture and presence are of the utmost importance. Be aware of how you are standing, your use of gestures, and the mood you are establishing in your presentation. A good presenter is always measuring the audience and how they are responding to the presentation, taking special care to set the proper mood that is consistent with the topic. You always want to appear confident, and there are times when you choose the posture and mood you want to establish. A still posture can make you appear formal and upright, while a relaxed one gives you a more active and inviting look. Your body movement and gestures are supporting elements in delivering your topic. While it is good to generally maintain the same posture throughout your presentation, there are times when you will switch from one to the other depending on the mood you wish to establish.
Contact. Speaking on your own is good practice, but a live audience is a whole different experience. In what way would you like to connect with your audience? You want to keep them interested and while at the same time creating a sense of connection between you and them. How? Here are a few tips for you to follow. Eye contact. This is particularly difficult with large audiences, but not impossible. Change your focal point, scanning each section of the audience so that everyone feels engaged with you and the presentation. Do not scan back and forth too quickly because that can make you look nervous. It is also good to avoid constantly looking up toward the ceiling or down toward the floor so that you do not appear to be bored or rude. Gestures. Studies indicate that up to 55% of communication is body language. We use our arms, hands, legs, facial expressions and much more when explaining and emphasizing. A good presenter is careful to avoid keeping his hands in his pockets or his arms at his sides at all times. Use open gestures as a complementary expression to what you are saying and as a means to invite your audience into the conversation. At the same time, be moderate with your gestures in order to avoid looking anxious or nervous. Verbal contact. Always check beforehand if everyone can accurately see you or hear you, test the audio and lighting to be sure they are working. Engage your audience with rhetorical questions. They should be direct and clear, such as, "How do you think we get to this conclusion?" or "What does this tell us?" Language. You may be tempted to believe that a good presentation is one in which only technical or academic language is used. This is not always the case. Either way, you want to be sure that you speak in a clear and understandable manner. A good technique you can use is to use the pronoun we so that your audience feels involved. You can ask questions like, "How can we learn something here?" or "What can we learn from this chart?"
Voice. It is believed that only people with a certain type of voice can be heard or understood. The truth is, though, that we all can do something with what we've got, by paying attention to the following aspects: volume, pitch, rhythm and tempo, and timbre. Total Communicator, 2004. Volume can fluctuate to avoid a monotonous tone and to highlight important parts of your speech. Increase volume a little when introducing a new idea, and decrease volume when closing an idea or thought. And keep in mind, everyone should always be able to hear you. Pitch, the frequency of the sound waves you produce should be refined. It is about the high or low notes you hit with your voice. Establish and reinforce your message with these variations. For example, questions should end on a higher note whereas affirmations should end on a slightly lower one. Rhythm is used to carry meaning as it is the pattern of the sounds you produce. Tempo, on the other hand, is the pace of your voice. How slow or fast you speak. Slow down when you want to emphasize and quicken to show emotion or humor. Also, a good pause can help improve the understanding of complex ideas, or when you're changing subjects. Finally, timbre is the emotional quality of your voice, how you reflect your attitude to enhance meaning or express emotion.
Breathe. Breathing is usually one of those things we forget to do properly because it is usually done automatically. Bad breathing, however, can affect our voice and our expression, especially when our presentation might take a considerable amount of time. Every effective presenter recommends taking a few deep breaths before starting. You can also use pauses throughout your presentation to ensure maintaining comfortable breathing patterns.
Drink. It is natural for our throats to dry up when we are speaking. This is why having water available can help prevent this problem. It is recommended to use room temperature water, never cold. It affects the quality of the voice, and some people recommend a warm, not hot, cup of tea to ease your vocal cords and throat before you start. When you are organizing an event and your guests will give lectures or speeches, it is well appreciated if you provide them with water to help ensure their thirst remains quenched throughout their presentation.
Planning, developing of contents and activities.
As we saw in the last topic, contents are essential, but preparation and practice can be the key to a successful presentation.
Determine the purpose of your presentation and identify your own objectives. Of the various factors that can affect the design of your presentation, the most important are your objectives and audience. So, as a start, you must know exactly what you want to achieve and what it is that you want your audience to take from you. Your strategic choices should match the tone of your presentation. A classroom speech in your university is not the same as a public speech to raise awareness on an environmental problem. The following questions can help you. What are the key points that you want your audience to understand? After they hear you, do you want them to do something specific? What is the best way to prepare and deliver your presentation so that it achieves specific goals?
Know your audience and what it knows. Spectators have very different individual experiences. You are sometimes facing a heterogeneous audience with various interests and levels of knowledge. If you are prepared for most of them, you can be a great presenter. Some useful questions here are: how much do they know about the subject? How can you link new ideas to what they already know? Will there be opposing comments or disagreements? How will you handle them? Consider that you won't be able to answer and satisfy them all, but if you're prepared enough, you will always target the material at an appropriate level for them. Remember, you need to appeal to their imagination and creativity.
Define your topic. Defining your topic means choosing the main points you wish to convey. It is advised not to use more than 3 points in a 10-minute presentation, including your opening and your conclusion. A complex topic is hard to follow, so you have to keep your audience in mind and guide them through the presentation.
Compose your presentation. This is the core of your work. You must take into account everything we have discussed so far when composing your presentation. It is important to add linking statements, taking into account the flow of your presentation, both backwards and forwards. Through the usage of links, you can prove that you are making a point and you are moving towards something specific. Links also help reinforce the idea that what you said had a purpose. There are also two substantial aspects of your presentation to consider in this stage: an opening and a conclusion. These are crucial and can make the difference between a good presentation and a great one. Your opening is your first impression and your first contact with the audience. You can win them or lose them here. It should have your self-introduction. What you'll be talking about. How will you be doing it? What you want to achieve. What you expect of the audience. Your conclusion is how you will be ending your presentation. Here you can review your main points and leave a good impression with your audience. It should have review of the subject, summary of main points, summary of the process, a general conclusion or idea on how all these work together, a final stimulation, like a powerful idea or a quote.
Create visual aids. Visual aids and supporting information will help your audience gain a better understanding, as well as believe and agree with your topic. The use of diagrams, charts, tables, pictures or different multimedia, audio and video, is suggested. Always check if these elements will add clarity, authority and color to your arguments.
Practice your presentation. As we stated before, you can always practice by yourself in an empty room, or even in front of a mirror. No matter how you do it, always be sure to be objective with yourself, noting what you like and what you don't. A good recommendation is to videotape your presentation, so you can watch the video later and analyze yourself and your presentation. Do this as often as you need to, and if you consider it useful, get the advice of an expert or the feedback of the audience.
Make necessary adjustments. Always review the contents of your presentation. Once you have checked every aspect of it and practiced it, you can still make adjustments in timing and contents to match your objectives. This should be the result of things that you noticed during your practice time that could be changed, as well as the feedback you receive from others.
Analyze the room where you'll be giving your presentation, setup, sight lines, equipment, etc. This is, of course, part of the technical aspects of your presentation that requires your attention each time you present. If possible, it is recommended you perform a technical check a few days prior to the presentation date. Sometimes a good presentation goes wrong because of external reasons. The volume level and equalization of the microphone and other sound equipment, the bright lights focused on you or the audience, do they help you or blind you? For your visual aids, check the availability of a projector, the quality of the display and the audio-video connection. You want to be sure to consider every detail, even software compatibility, between your devices and the ones in the room. Practice again. We'll be saying this a lot because it matters. Practice makes perfect. You should feel positive, confident and satisfied. And even after the actual presentation is over, always look for new feedback from your audiences. This is, after all, a constant work in progress and improvement. If it was good, it can always be better.